standing here on Rye Lane in Peckham in front of an 120-year-old warehouse space which is known for hosting leading nights in music, arts, culture, comedy, theatre, anime and so much more. But this space right here was actually nearly turned into 11 luxury apartments. So my question is, were the 90s the peak for London nightlife, or are there bigger issues that are affecting the capital city? So what do you see the future of London nightlife looking like if the clubs continue closing down the way they are right now?
You're just going to get a very boring town full of business districts, no real art, no real culture.
It's that versus probably noise pollution and probably the council and that sort of bit. So you've got to find a good medium, in all honesty, I feel.
I mean, there's no point in having a night tube if there's nowhere to go.
Well, thank you for meeting me, Tom. Nice to meet you. Now, I'm personally very happy that, you know, Bussy Building, CLF Art Cafe and Rye Wax are all still alive and kicking. But I know it hasn't been very easy for you guys to keep it open. So explain to me some of the struggles that you've had.
Well, the most recent one, which is probably the one you're referring to, was that problem with developers putting in a proposal to use the front entrance and redevelop it into flats.
And you've had massive community support. I know that your community support was so strong, in fact, that you guys actually managed to change the property developers' minds. Well,
that's why it was such an amazing shock. Well, the opposite was it felt quite empowering when we actually did manage to stop this development.
And thank you, Gudrun, for joining me today. Now, Passing Clouds, they had a very high-profile closure. I think it's because you guys are so popular and so loved amongst the people. But tell me what's happened since it's closed down.
So since we closed down, we've been on a massive campaign to actually win the building back. We also organised a huge march which got about 2,000 people marching through the streets of Dalston, going to Passing Clouds and basically calling for Hackney Council to help us win our building back.
I know Passing Clouds paid a lot back into the community with things such as the free rehearsal space that you would give. I know you had the self-development workshops, you had the music lessons. So what do you think the impact will be on the community of Dalston and beyond by removing you guys?
The days after we were closed down, all the local businesses were like, who we knew were calling us up or stopping us in the street like, what the hell has happened to Passing Clouds? And they're worried for their own businesses, you know, places like the local pizza place and the cab office and, you know, the off license, the kebab shops, they all kind of rely on Passing Clouds for passing trade.
There are so many more clubs that are being closed down in those kind of areas, such as Club 414 in Brixton. So using your experience, what would you tell those clubs that are, you know, facing the possibility of being closed down? What advice would you give to them based on your experience that you've had?
To unite with other venues, to unite with everyone, and as well to bring more like the musicians together, the musicians and the punters, like the crowds together, you know. We are a force. We are literally a force.
If Rye Wax, Bussy Building, CLF Art Cafe all got closed down, how much would it affect your local community?
Hugely, I'd like to believe. I mean, I think, yeah, with Rye Wax, we've built it to be a kind of hub for the local community, really, and somewhere where all the local things that are growing musically can find a home, can develop.
If these venues that play these underground forms of music are shut down, do you think that that will affect the genre of music as a whole in the music industry?
Oh, hugely. I mean, without these venues, those cultures simply wouldn't happen at all. And now that we're going into a time where venues are being closed down and where new venues, very importantly, aren't being allowed to open either because they don't have those investment opportunities and they don't have the security, we could be missing out on things that we don't even know about that have never happened. And those things just won't happen at all.